Well, good Saturday morning, everybody. It's good to see you once again. It was a hot day yesterday, and we're going to do a rinse and repeat once again. Once we get more rinse and less a repeat of the heat, wish we had a little bit better rain coverage, but hey, we're slowly going to get there, but temperatures are going to be hot this afternoon. What's not hot right now is the radar. It is awfully quiet here across our region. You see that on the Tamco Live Doppler radar. We just see some radar noise so far this morning. Some bugs and birds active this morning as the sunrise has started. Other than that, it is awfully quiet across southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana. Even if you zoom out, pretty quiet across the state of Texas, Louisiana, and across portions of the deep south. You can still see the moisture and those showers and thunderstorms pushing towards the realistically more towards the east, towards the Florida region. But other than that, it is a quiet start this morning on Saturday. You've got that high pressure off towards the northwest. That's what's been in control all week long. And you've got another high pressure down there into the Gulf. That's what's slinging all of that moisture over there towards Florida. And this is what's keeping us limited somewhat on the rain chances. If we're going to get any rain today, coverage is realistically around 10 to 20% and possibly up to 30% for our lakes region. Kind of similar to what we saw yesterday. You can see the temperatures already off to a warm start. What we see this time of year, we are slightly above average though. Pretty much already into the upper 70s, so a good chunk of the region already into the low 80s. Some areas already getting to the mid 80s. Thanks for sponsor of Silsby Ford. Get you one. It's going to be a hot day today. And then if you take a look at the construction forecast for today, sponsored by Modern Concrete and Material, I think it's going to be a mostly dry day today, pretty much between now until 4 p.m. If we're going to see the chance for that 10 to 20% coverage and that 30% coverage for, areas slightly north, that should be kind of kicking off around 4 p.m., but mainly later than that. So coverage throughout the day today should be pretty much less than 10%, should be mostly hot. Again, good chunk of the region is going to get into the 100-degree mark, up to 100 to some areas up to 104, 105. So it's going to be a hot day, no doubt about it. Your only relief from the heat is that 10 to 20% coverage for Beaumont, Houston to Lake Charles down towards the coast. Further towards north, like Livingston, Lufkin, and Jasper and DeRidder, you can get up to 30% coverage, and we'll show that more in a second. Tropical outlook, it remains shut down in the Gulf and the Caribbean. No problems at all the next 7 to 10 days. That is wonderful news. We do have 3 areas that we're monitoring, but I'm going to just use the mouse here and just really focus on this one right here. The only area that has the 30% chance of developing within the next 5 to 7 days. This system is actually going to get into the water realistically in the next day or two. We'll watch what this does, but if this wants to be anything organized, it will have to take somewhat of a more northern route, going somewhat north of the Leeward Islands by next weekend. And if it wants to, again, stay organized, it's got to stay further toward the north, curving away from the United States. If it goes any further west, say the Caribbean or these islands here, dry air, pockets of dry air, and wind shear is going to give it a hard time. So we'll continue to keep watching it, but as of right now, not too concerned with the tropics. What we're concerned with is this high pressure ridge. Temperatures 100 to some areas up to 106 today, again tomorrow. It's not until we get to the end of this week on Thursday, still have that high pressure ridge in our backyard, still going to be in control, but notice it is slightly to the west, just a little bit, to introduce a little bit better rain chances. Thanks to Switch Electric, we can see that on the Futurecast. But even when we look at the rainfall outlook, we're still somewhat kind of mostly dry today to at least Wednesday. So again, today is going to be 10 to 20% coverage for a good chunk of our region. Further to north can get up to 30% coverage. We don't start seeing a little bit better rain chances until we get to realistically Thursday and Friday, the end of the week, possibly into next weekend. But even then, doesn't look like a slam dunk just yet, but we are excited to see that ridge just move off towards the west just enough to possibly give us a little bit better rain potential and kind of get us back into the middle to upper 90s. There's that rain for this afternoon. I'll play that loop once again because not everybody's going to get it. This is going to be a mostly hot and mostly dry day for a good chunk of the region. There will be 20 to 30% coverage like Lufkin, Jasper, Leesville. Those regions can see it later this afternoon. Beaumont, Lake Charles down towards the coast, realistically around 10 to 20% coverage. And since you got hot temperatures, you can have some of these storms that do get pretty strong. That's what we'll watch for. But other than that, this is going to be a quick shower moving through the region. And when I say strong, 35 to up to 45 mile per hour winds are possible with lots of lightning. And I don't even have enough space. Look at these high temperatures. We've got triple digits all over the board. Wish I could space it out a little bit better. Just see there, Houston, Beaumont, Lake Charles, upper 90s to 100 degrees, in several regions up to 101, with some regions getting up to 106. So just a hot day as expected. Even overnight, tonight's will be a warm one and muggy like we see this time of year, but it's just a little bit more muggier and warmer thanks to Silsbee Ford. We can see it's pretty much going to be into the upper 70s, low to mid 80s across the region. And then here's our 7-day forecast. Getting a little bit better by the end of the week, but it's still hot. That's going to be the main thing the next 5 to 7 days. Upper 90s, some areas all the way up to 105, 106 degrees today and tomorrow, and the heat's going to stick around for majority of the week. The ridge finally kind of moves off towards the west as we get into Thursday and Friday into the week, giving us a little bit better potential for some rain. And we start seeing the temperatures get back into the middle 90s to several areas staying in the upper 90s. But it does look a lot better than being into the triple digits. Still hot, I know. We're slowly getting there. And here we are for southwest Louisiana. A little bit better rain potential by the end of the week. That ridge moves off a little bit further to the west. The door's a little bit more open for more moisture to get in there. So the big story there, notice temperatures pretty much at the 100-degree mark today and tomorrow into the upper 90s. And with the rain and the clouds and that ridge moving off towards the west, we should see southwest Louisiana getting into the low to mid 90s. So there's our 7-day forecast. There's our Saturday update. Please go download the free Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app. It will keep you updated around the clock what's going on with the heat, the tropics, or any storms that do develop later this afternoon. Again, coverage realistically from Houston, Beaumont, Lake Charles down towards the coast around 10 to 20%. And that 30% coverage can be possible for areas like Conroe, Livingston, and Jasper to DeRidder later this afternoon and into the evening hours. So y'all have a wonderful Saturday. Find a way to stay cool. If you got a pool, that's definitely where I would be. Y'all have a good Saturday. See y'all again tomorrow. We'll have more updates throughout the day today, but I'll see y'all again video-wise on Monday morning, but we're going to continue to provide updates throughout the day. Thanks to all of our sponsors doing everything that you do for Gulf Coast Weather Solutions, and thanks to everybody who tunes in every single day. Have a good Saturday. Have a good weekend. Find a way to stay cool.